Laudetur Jesus Christus. Vatican and World News.
In the headlines this Thursday, February 11th, Pope Francis calls for a relationship based on solidarity and trust between the sick and those who care for them as we mark the World Day of the Sick.
The United Nations decries disparity in vaccine distribution.
And we go down memory lane today as Vatican Radio prepares to celebrate its 90th anniversary on Friday. In the Vatican, I'm Father Benedict Mayaki.
And I'm Francesca Merlo.
And finally, to mark and to celebrate Vatican Radio's 90th birthday, celebrated on Friday the 12th of February, we look back to the radio's inauguration by Pope Pius XI and Guglielmo Marconi in 1931. In this program, presented and produced by Veronica Skersbrick, you can hear a sound picture of that special day with the voices of this Pope, of Marconi and his daughter Electra, as well as the crackly sound of that very first historic broadcast.
Vatican State, from a great radio station built by Marconi, the Pope, for the first time in 1900 years of Catholicism, has sent his voice throughout the world.
That was the voice of Pius XI at the inauguration of Vatican City's radio station on February the 12th, 1931.
Ho l'altissimo onore di annunziare che fra pochi istanti.
The words of Pius XI followed those of the father of radio, Guglielmo Marconi. While Pius XI spoke in Latin, the universal language of the Church, Marconi spoke in Italian. For the first time in history, the voice of a Roman pontiff is about to be carried through the airways, for all people to hear, Marconi said.
Che la sua viva voce può essere percepita.
My father made friends with the Pope, who was Pius XI. In front of my mother, he asked my father to build important radio station in the Vatican City. He accepted with enthusiasm, and that was...
Princess Electra, Marconi's daughter, was named after her father's invention. She recalled playing in the Vatican gardens while her father discussed electric waves with Pius XI. It was through the Vatican garden, so familiar to Princess Electra, that on a raw and windy evening, Pius XI went by car to inaugurate the new radio station of Vatican City. His first gesture was to bless the city and the world. After the first papal broadcast on Vatican Radio, the BBC broadcast the first ever royal Christmas message.
Through one of the marvels of modern science, I am enabled this Christmas Day to speak to all my peoples that wireless should have reached...
His Majesty George V's voice reached out to his subjects throughout the empire.
I speak now from my home and from my heart to you all, to men and women so cut off by the snows, the desert, or the sea, that only voices out of the air can reach them. I wish a happy Christmas. God bless you.
Only a few months later, the words of the Pope to Marconi on Vatican Radio were filled with that same wonder. The Pope spoke of being baffled as to how Marconi had managed to transform into sound mysterious electric waves. There is nothing to see, to hear, to feel, to touch, the Pope said. So how could the human mind possibly see what our eyes don't see?
In the tiny Vatican state, from a great radio station built by Marconi, the Pope, for the first time in 1900 years of Catholicism, has sent his voice throughout the world.
Thanks for listening. I'm Veronica Scaresbrick.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Vatican World News. For more on these and other stories, and to hear this broadcast as a podcast, please be sure to visit our web portal at www.vaticannews.va.
You can also catch the latest updates on our Facebook page or on Twitter. Many thanks go to Patrizio Ciprari in studio. In the Vatican, I'm Father Benedict Mayaki.
And I'm Francesca Merlo.